2024 Ironman New Zealand. This is, I believe, the longest running Ironman, if I'm not mistaken here. They're celebrating 40 years here. So without further ado, let's dive into some pre-race details and some things you're going to need to know for race day success out there. Page 5 has the race referee message. Make sure that you read this. Has a lot of really, really good information. For instance, ride on the left side of the bike lane, crossing the center line is prohibited. 12 meters in between yourself and the cyclist in front of you. If you are from America, make sure you are passing on the right of the cyclist in front of you, never on the left. And that is going to be a big change here because you are racing in a different part of the world here. You do have to complete your pass in 25 seconds, and if passed, you have to drop back immediately 12 meters to ensure you have dropped back the full 12 meters before repassing that person. So it's a little bit of a yo-yo game out there. Page 5 also talks about the blue card penalties, also the yellow card penalties, and the disqualification. So make sure you are reading up on that. Race rules happen on page 6 as well. And again, there's some other things that you need to know, so make sure you just peruse that page 6 as well. A couple of really, really important things, and that finishes up on page 7 there. Scrolling down here, we have the welcome message on page 9, and the event schedule happens on page 10. Let's zoom in a little bit on here so we can see it a little bit better here. So on Tuesday the 27th, that pre-race massage service, that's prepaid of course, that is open from 9 to 5. And on Wednesday, that's where things really kick off. 9 to 4 is the main hours of the festivities with the merchandise tent and the information booth open there. We also have 9 to 5 Performance Bicycle Tuning Service Center and the pre-race massage service as well. Thursday 29th of February. 9 to 5, it is athlete check-in for the Ironman and Ironman 70.3. Because they are doing 2-in-1 there. 9 to 5, we do have wetsuit check, so you have to get your wetsuit checked. Information tent, kids fun run, sports and lifestyle expo open from 9 to 5 as well, with a tuning service for the bicycles open from 9 to 5 as is customary. Same with the massage. Ironman transition tour followed by race director Q&A happens at 11 and 1 p.m. We also have professional athlete briefing happening at 3 p.m. on Thursday the 29th, and then the welcome presentation and Ironman Pro panel happening at 5 thereafter. Friday, March the 1st. Kids Fun Run starts at 7, starts at 8. The check-in starts at 7. Athlete check-in for both the Ironman and 70.3 happens from 9 to 5. The Women for Tri Breakfast is happening from 9 to 11. Expo is open from 9 to 5. Again, the Bicycle Performance Tuning Center is open. We have the the wetsuit check again at 10 to 5 p.m. We also have the bike and transition bag check-in from 10 to 6 p.m. And that is where you will get your timing chip collection after racking your bike. Same time slot as well, 10 to 6. So make sure you do that, regardless of 70.3 or full distance racing. Event schedule for Saturday the 2nd. We have the welcome starting at 7:30. Water opens at 7:40. The Ironman male professional start happens at 7:50 with the women happening 2 minutes after at 7:52. Age groupers, you are starting at 8 a.m. Bike and gear collection 7:30 to 11 p.m. as is customary. Sunday the 3rd of March, we have Ironman run course / cutoff finish at 1 a.m. We also have metal engraving here 8 to 2. Pretty cool stuff. Bike collection again, lost property, post-race massage awards presentation happens at 10 a.m. with the 24 Ironman World Championships roll down ceremony happening at 11 a.m. All right. Page 14 has your athlete checklist of what to bring. Make sure you don't forget anything. Page 16 talks about our race kit and things that are important, like your transition bags, your street gear bags, all of that good stuff, and everything that you will get right up here. So it's all pretty cool stuff. For instance, number 8, helmet sticker. Place that on the front of your helmet, attached prior to helmet check-in on race day. So I really like this page because it really breaks it down, and if you are a newer athlete or an athlete racing for the first time overseas, this is a really good page for you to just look at what you get and then actually be able to put it on or do what you need to do with it instead of the North American Series one. So I really like that. Hope North America makes that change. Again, page 18, this is our pre-race information, things like athlete check-in, timing chip, all that good stuff is listed on page 18. This is our venue information area here, where you are going to be checking in and all that good stuff. You got your the grandstands over here, bikes. We got the expo mixed over here, the merch tent, massage recovery registration area right through there, and that is pretty much it. Pre-race information extends on page 19. Massage, bike mechanics, race dress questions, bike course. Um, they do not recommend that you ride on the bypass. It carries a high volume of traffic, including a higher number of trucks and heavy transport. So, cyclists should ride single file on the course at all times. Make sure you are visible. You don't want any incidents happening before race day. So make sure you are safe. Scope out a safe spot to ride pre-race. And it might not be the course itself, but rather be safe than sorry for sure. Also, pre-race training, ensure you are always aware and obey the New Zealand road rules. Same as any other place. The roads will remain open until race day for everyone, so just realize you're not the only ones out there. Swim course, keep inside the buoys. Please keep inside the 200-meter red and white marker buoys, as is authorized boating and jet ski lane on the outside of those buoys. Avoid golf balls. It is dangerous to swim unwittingly into the hole-in-one golf activity. So, make sure you're just wearing that bright swim cap. Make sure you're not swimming in that area. It will be marked. They'll be able to tell you where that is. So just another thing to keep in mind pre-race. You don't want to get hit with a golf ball. Again, check, clean, dry. Page 21 talks about some cool things for all wetsuits. Check, clean, and dry. That's really cool stuff for your pre-race wetsuit information. Page 22, again, pre-race information extending over here. Become One seminar, Become One tent, welcome presentation, and pro panel, all listed over there. Bag drop and collection listed on page 24. This is going to have your specifics, things you need to know on page 24. You must use the Ironman drawstring bag provided to you during athlete check-in as your street gear bag. No other bag will be accepted for you to put your stuff in and put it in the transition area. They highly recommend that you do not put any valuable items within the personal needs bag. Personal needs bags are used for special items required during the race, either nutrition, clothing. Excuse me, you will have to have your items fit in the bag. You can't have it extend out of the bag. You will also need to purchase your personal needs bag this year. Again, this is going to be something different. If you are used to racing in America, racing overseas, this is a little new, but it talks about how to purchase it. Make sure you just go on your active portal on site in the active check-in. They'll probably have a QR code or something you can just scan really fast to get there, but make sure you're asking for the personal needs bag if you're going to need something like that. For the bike or the run, excuse me. Also, page 24 has the clothing drop area. The clothing drop zone is at the bike aid station number 3 on the return leg at approximately 57.3 km. All clothing must be marked clearly with your race number. Bag drop collection. This on page 25 talks about where and when it is. Bike to run. Drop it off at Transition Tent Friday, March 3rd. The bike to bag, or bike transition bag. The swim to bike bag. Wow, mouthful. You need to drop that off on March the 1st, 10 to 6 p.m. Drop it off at the Transition Change Tent. During the race, bag is handed to you by the Mercury Volunteers entrance to the transition. And again, read this. If you do want to do something like this, make sure you are actively aware of where and when you need to get it and place it and just have it be done. Drop off on the race morning. It also lists where you will be dropping those off. They also are going to have bike pumps, which is, again, a welcome change if you are racing in North America usually. Transition on page 27. This talks about the bike racking, when it is, Friday, March the 1st. Prior to entry, make sure you have your check-in, secured your bike seat post sticker, bike checks, all that good stuff, helmets. Again, a lot of good stuff really well laid out for us. Page 28 talks about transition, and again, helmet check, bike collection, bike pumps, bike pump drop-off will be available on race morning within transition and can be collected post-event during bike collection. Please ensure that your bike pump is labeled using the sticker with your race kit. All of that stuff has been thought of. And so this is our bike turn, right? And we are coming in here. This is the swim in, right? And it looks like the Ironman athletes are going to be veering off to the left. The change tents over here. Ironman, get your bike and go. Whereas the 70.3 athletes are going to veer off to the right. And again, this is going to be something that I highly encourage you to check out in person on race weekend. Do not just show up on race day and say, hey, I'll just figure it out. Make sure you are walking through the transition at least once before race day. Page 30, aid stations, pre-swim. We do have glasses drop off and water. Awesome. Transition aid stations, swim to bike and bike to run. So that's going to be your transition area. They're going to offer water, Gatorade, Morton gels, bars, bananas, Vaseline, sunblock, and toilets. Interesting to see that Morton gels are also still here in the Ironman series after they just signed on to the PTO series. But cool. Bike aid stations. We ride on the left-hand side of the road, and aid stations will and take-ups will normally be on the left hand. So that's going to be, again, a little bit of a change for us American athletes. Aid station locations, it lists them. They will offer water, Gatorade, gels, bars, bananas, Coke, Vaseline, sunblock, and toilets. And this shows you the process of how it happens, how it's laid out. So you have the opportunity to ditch your trash, then there's aid, then there's bathrooms, then there's water, electrolyte food, electrolyte water. So it just goes in reverse, with that middle tent being the only one that has, or that middle table is the only one that has that food. And then it just reverses to itself. So if you do actually get through the transition and say, whoops, got to go to the bathroom, there is an opportunity to do that at the end. And there is another opportunity to ditch your trash at the very end as well. A couple of other really important things to know in your your aid station roll through here. Slower athletes or people getting service need to stay to the left. An athlete who is skipping the aid, just stay to the right and just get out of the way of everyone. No need to just go all the way to the left and plow through everyone. Definitely not. Inversely, if you have stopped to go to the bathroom or whatever, right, you don't want to get on your bike and just slowly veer out up to that center lane. I've seen lots of accidents happen this way, with athletes just not paying attention, with a faster athlete coming along in that arrow position and just really just boom, they just plow together. So if you are rejoining the circuit, make sure you are rejoining on the left-hand side and slowly establish yourself on that course as you get further out of the transition area. One of the most dangerous parts of the course almost always is that transition, or that aid station area. This is the run aid station, and since we've talked about it on the bike, we're just going to do it on the run. You have your opportunity to get trash, first aid, toilets, water, electrolytes, food, with that middle table being the food only table. So if you are diving for food, make sure you don't miss that table. And then we just flip it for cola and electrolytes, water, bathroom, and trash opportunity again. You don't want to litter trash outside of those rubbish areas. These aid stations are going to offer on the run water, Gatorade, Morton gels, Coca-Cola, bananas, chips, pretzels, chocolate chip cookies, which is an awesome thing, Vaseline, sunscreen, and toilets. That chocolate chip cookie would be a great thing later on in that race. Maybe not for everyone, but for me. All right, they talked about their discard drop-off zones, and we've already talked about that, so we're not going to waste time there. Page 33, race day information, cutoff times listed there. And again, finishing up here with the finish line photos, toilets, all that good stuff, finisher t-shirts listed there. Now, let's roll into the swim course. Page 36 is where we start here. The course cutoff is 2 hours and 20 minutes from the gun start. Mass start. Zone 1 is under an hour and 5 minutes. Zone 2 under 105 to 116. Zone 3 116 to 125. And Zone 4 over 125. Very, very cool things. This Ironman swim start format is a mass deep water start. Athletes are to self-seed themselves into start zones prior to racing. Prior to the race starting. 4 different zones are the ones that we just listed off there, and you get to self-select which one you want to do. So yeah, one of the last mass starts left out here. Really, really cool thing to see here. Page 36 dives into a little bit more. Dive into page 37 here. Swim safety, transition procedure, all that good stuff. And this is our swim course over here. So this is our course. This is a one loop course out here. This is our start, our in-water area. And let's just get some focus to it right there. This is our start area. And after that, we are going out over here. So with this a mass start, the dynamics change a little bit for those people that aren't aware of it. For those first 200, 400 meters, it's going to be a battle. Just get ready for it. Just accept it. It is what it is. You can't really change too much about it. If you are newer to a mass start within that section that you've selected, say you're going under an hour, right? In that section there, if you are not super comfortable swimming in a mass of people, wait 2 seconds after that gun goes off, and you will be amazed at how clean that water is in front of you because everyone has just swam it out in front of you. So if you're a little more comfortable swimming through the pack that way, that's a great strategy. Just wait 2 seconds before or after everything starts, and you'll have a lot of clean water over there, and actually you have a stronger pull through the water for a little bit too. Stronger swimmers, you're going to have to be aware of where the other stronger swimmers are on race day. If you're a swimmer, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you see a serious group lining up on the inside or the outside or the center, and you are a serious contender yourself, you might want to put yourself with those other athletes. And if you're somewhere in between, you might want to just hang around them, not get totally mixed up in the fray with them. Also, definitely don't start your stuff off in front of the serious swimmers. If you are not one yourself, you will get swam over. So it's very important to identify these people, and you'll be able to do it when you get out there in the water. It's not a huge thing. But yeah, if you are in one of those groups and you are pushing the limits of that group, and you maybe should be in the next group ahead, so the faster group I'm talking about, you might want to start yourself off in the front of that group, the one that you're currently in, if you're kind of sandbagging a little bit. And if you push yourself up into a wave that, you have a question mark of if you're going to be able to hang on, right? You probably should not put yourself at the front of that group because there's going to be people who are pushing the limits of that group, okay? So self-seed yourself. Don't be afraid to ask people when you get up there, like, hey, what are you going to do this swim in? What are you thinking? Just be a friendly person, and normally people are going to be honest with you within a couple of minutes. And with that, you can place yourself in a spot that's going to set you up for success rather than failure. Either way, getting back into course dynamics here for this whole first section over here, it's going to be busy. There's no real ifs, ands, or buts about it. This first turn here is going to be one of the busiest turns you've ever taken. This right-hand turn here. Again, when you do this turn, do not overthink it. There used to be swim classes and everything to practice their turn. It's a right-hand turn, guys. You swim in the water, you turn right, you keep going. It's easy. When you do make this right-hand turn, a big mistake that a lot of people make in this section over here is they will sight a bunch of times. And when you do that, you stop, you slow down, you'll stop swimming. And since this turn happens relatively quick in our swim, there's going to be a lot of people coming up from behind you, and it just creates a log jam of people, and then it makes this turn very difficult, not only for in that immediate moment, for people coming back up on the backside of you. So when you get in this turn, past the buoys, turn right, keep swimming, follow the person in front of you. And again, if you do veer off the course a little bit in those first 5 or 6 strokes, you're not going to make or break your race there. So don't panic or don't overthink that there. You want to approach this turn with an attack method to get into the turn and out of the turn, and then you need to turn that attack off right away. And just find your pace again, all right? It's going to happen again right through here on this right-hand turn, and again, this turn is going to be busy as well. It's very quick into the race. There's no way around it, right? And it's a right-hand turn, and being on a line immediately out of this turn is even less important than off of this first turn, okay? So again, you can get 20, 30, 40 strokes off course here. Again, you'll probably swim in a diagonal here, and that is a-okay. Don't worry about it off of this second turn, okay? So again, You swim up to the turn, you make a right-hand turn, and you just keep on swimming. Not a huge deal. Now, the huge deal is you want to place yourself, when you do get to this second turn buoy right here, you want to place yourself in the group in an area for success, because this is a long stretch, one of the longest stretches on the Ironman circuit right here. Okay. With that, less turns, this sighting becomes more important as you get a little closer into it. But what is really important is for you to not let those feet go out in front of you if you can avoid it. You know, if you can get into a group of 5 or 6 people that are slightly faster than you, that is perfect scenario on race day. What most of you will encounter is that you will not be able to do that, and you will be swimming by yourself or with one other person out there on this stretch of course. The successful athletes are going to be the ones who really know that pace, their race pace, that's what I'm talking about, and not someone else's race pace. It's going to be really common for athletes to get about 3/4 of the way through this section here and totally blow up. Okay, so if you are swimming with 2 or 3 other people out here on this big stretch, and all of a sudden they just, you know, self-implode, their parachutes come undone in the water, and you just like totally fly by them, look for the next group. And that's what you should constantly be doing during this section. Look for the next group. Look for the next group. Look for the next group within your abilities. That is going to be the major thing here. Now these 2 turns out here, turn 3 and turn 4, are going to be very quiet compared to turns 1 and 2. Very quiet. Okay. And again, don't worry about those first 2 or 3 strokes out of each turn. It's not a huge deal. You know, don't sight excessively during this section here. And once you get out of turn 4, again, you're going to want to establish your pace relatively quickly and set yourself up for success all the way up for turn number 5 there. Don't blow yourself up, and chances are the people that are going to blow up, it's going to happen in between turn 2 and turn 3. But from turn 4 to turn 5, you should be really stuck in your pace. If you are letting your pace group go, this is probably the best place to do that. If you just can't hang on and you need a little bit of recovery before the bike, perfect opportunity to do so. And if in a perfect world, if you can hang on until that 5th buoy right here, even better. Even better, okay? Taking that left-hand turn, then this is going to be the opportunity for you to start kicking your feet a little bit more, getting the blood back into your legs, because this is a long single loop course. Swimmers rejoice. So again, make sure that you have yourself set up and ready for that transition, not even the bike, but for that transition, that switch from swimming to biking here. And if you wanted to start kicking your feet a little bit more, then do that before turn 5 as well. So that's going to be your swim success. Let's get out of here for a second. Page 39. This is our bike course, 180 Ks. Cutoff of 10 hours and 30 minutes from gun start time, which is pretty cool. This talks about the transition procedure as well. Make sure you are aware of that, the mount and dismount line. And before we go in, this is our run to the transition from the swim. So a little bit of a longer jog, not a terrible jog, but there is a bit of distance to cover from that swim to bike transition. So this is our bike course over here. I have go ahead and created a bike course for us, which has about 4,000 feet, of elevation gain. A couple of quick things that you are going to note on this course here, and we are just going to highlight the obvious here. We have some downhill sections here, and coming back into that transition area. We also have a couple of flatter sections here and here. And the obvious ones are the hill sections number 1, hill section number 2, and 3, and 4 right there. So with that, I've already highlighted the major features of this course, aside from the fact that it is when we are going over this course, we are going to go all the way up, and then we are going to go all the way out again, coming back in. Okay? It is what it is. So with that, we do have a 2-loop course over here, and the major features have already been highlighted for us. So diving into the course specifics here, without talking about aid stations or anything yet, coming out for these first couple of miles here, We do want to be very, very careful, and if we do highlight these first 7 miles over here of our 4K, we do have 490 feet of elevation gain right off the bat here. We are climbing up. It's a 3% grade, so you're going to have to work pretty there's going to be a lot of work to do right out of the gate here for these first couple of miles. Whereas most races have a little bit of a ease into their race, this one happens bang right out of the gate over here. And you can see here scrolling up here, it's not uncommon to hit that 3%, but most of it is in the 1 to 2-ish% area, with those kick-ups to 3% in a couple of areas. Now, average gradient is 1, but we also do have some downhill gradient mixed in here from mile 4 to mile 5.2, let's call it. With that, you're going to have some of your, pretty much the opposite of what you just did, because that's an out and back section over there. Or excuse me, that is not the out and back section yet. But you're going to have the opposite of what you just did off of this hill over here. So you are going to peak out at around negative 3% before you veer off into the out and back section right through here, as is laid out by this course map right here. After that, we do have a bit of a downhill area here. So professionals, you're going to have to hang on until mile 7 is essentially what it's going to be. So expect some higher power numbers mixed in through there, and you're just going to have to hang on to that front group if it is a bigger group. If it's 1 or 2 people, you might want to think about just letting those 2 people go. If you have a group that's willing to work behind them of 5, 6, 7, 8 athletes, and 2 people have gone up the road, 8 people are willing to work, I'm taking the 8 people. That's just a personal preference of mine, unless those 2 people are very, very strong, and you'll know who they are in the moment, hopefully. This downhill section lasts about 5 miles, and it is average gradient of negative 1.5 here. So again, you do have a little bit of room to make up some mistakes that you didn't hang on to, or some gaps that you let open up on that first 7 miles. But you just have to be careful here. Leading into this next major section over here, this section consists of about 34 miles, maybe a little longer. We have 900 feet of elevation gain mixed into here. Remember, we only have 400, let's call it 4,100 feet of elevation gain, so this has about 900 feet mixed in here. And what you will notice is none of the elevation none of the hills are excessively long, but what you are going to find is these hills are just punching again and again and again and again. They're coming back, they're coming back, they're coming back. They're not going to last for very long, so professionals, you're going to need to kind of attack into some of these smaller hills to make sure you get up it and don't get dropped on these smaller hills. A lot of athletes that do get dropped, it's just because of the repetition of the hit, and they constantly fail at driving that hill on the downhill and just maintaining their speed. Age groupers, you're going to kind of want to do the same thing, but you're going to want to do it relatively easier, all right? You're not going to be in the same realm as the professionals. Don't try to be, okay? So on some of these bigger downhills, you might want to take a bit more time to kind of recover. On some of these steeper uphills, maintain your pace. Just keep that tension on the chain. Is going to be the gold standard on this section through here. After you get past there, we're coming into the next major section out here. This is section 44.2 to 62 miles over here. So 18.2 miles, we have, let's call it 1,200 feet of elevation gain. And even that we do have some of these downhills mixed in here. Some of them are at a steep gradient for a second or two. We still have a net positive average up here, and this is going to be where the real meat and potatoes happen. So this happens right at the real start of the hill happens at mile 47 here. And then once you do that, you're driving straight back into town. With that, you're climbing the hill that you just went down at the very beginning, and here is going to be the first real point of kind of failure that happens for a lot of athletes. Most of them can stick it or survive it in that long, flatter section out on course, but here is going to be where things really start to kind of turn up the volume. You know, people are going to start turning the screws on you. You're going to do, hopefully, that on them. And, you know, there's going to be a lot of panic that happens right at this hill. So on that flat section that we talked about earlier, this section right through here, a little bit longer, but you get the idea. People can kind of get a false sense of hope. You can see people for a long time over there. The deficits don't look too big. You can say, hey, I can kind of get that back. I'm not too worried about it. I'll get it back on the hill. If you get to this hill right here and they're ready to go and you're not, that gap is going to open up tremendously. And again, you know, if you really, really think about it, this section is an 8-mile section. So it's a critical piece of road out on the course here. So be ready to do some work there. This section of hill right here, we have a 4 mile downhill, negative 1.7 gradient there before we kick up again, going back in and out again. This is 4 miles, 350 feet of elevation gain here, max gradient of 3.4. And again, this is just a rolling uphill, a steady uphill. So what you're going to get on a course like this, you're going to get a little bit of bite. And then once you get to a section like this, you're going to need to establish yourself, maybe get your speed up a little bit before the next little chunk hits you, and then you recover a bit, and then again and again and again. So even when you're going up here, you're going up and down and up and down and up and down. Now, we do this course 2 times, right? And once you get to this section, I'll highlight it for you so we don't zoom in. Once we get to this section right here, if you are a professional, this is going to be your last real opportunity to kind of do some recovery in there. So don't be surprised if one or two people throw an attack and on the downhill to kind of ruin that for you. Age groupers, there's no reason why you should be totally flooring it during this section here, on, especially on the downhill, if I zoom in a little more correctly. No reason you should be flooring it here. If you are, really check in with yourself and say, hey, can I hold this pace for the next 40 miles? And if the answer is no, you should be easing off the pace, eating, drinking, all that good stuff, because we are going to go into some serious work over there, and we know it has 1,000 feet of elevation gain in there. So we just need to be very careful during this downhill section, this last one over here, and don't push the pace unnecessarily here. All right. And so professionals, once you get to this last big hill here, of course, get ready for some moves. If you are not a strong biker there, but you find yourself in a group that is kind of pulling you along, don't be surprised if they really, drop you here. But I wouldn't be too upset about that. If you are a stronger biker, this is going to be where you do have an opportunity to kind of distance yourself a little bit. Just keep in mind that when you do that, that is at 107, 108 miles at the very top of this hill. So you're only going to have a couple more miles left before that and the race finish. So it's pros and cons. If you want to put a couple of seconds in between you and a group, that's a place to do it. But again, if you're not the strongest of runners, that's going to be an opportunity for you to blow your legs a little bit. So just be careful with that out there. Switching back to our race profile here. Aid stations are not listed. I know they listed them earlier, but a little disappointed they don't have that listed there. So this is our run course next on page 40. We do have a cutoff time of 17 hours from the gun start time. That's 1 a.m. Sunday, March the 5th. So the sunset time is about 8:43. So athletes who are running post-sunset are going to be required to wear glow sticks or provided a suitable alternative to increase athlete visibility. So new this year in 24, there will not be lap bands for athletes. You're responsible for counting your own laps. If you need assistance, ask a family member or someone else. There are timing mats, so everyone's going to know how many laps you have done. And again, this run course is 4 miles. So with that, this is our run course this year that is laid out for us. Something that you will immediately see. Hopefully it has about 1,300 feet of elevation gain, but more importantly, we are going up, we are going down. It is a constant up, down, around, twisting, turning. One of my favorite types of courses here. Again, this is our turnaround right up top here, right by the finish line, before we go back down again. So this is the 70.3 turnaround. If you're doing that, that's this green one. The red one is the Ironman turnaround. That's going to be the one that we are focusing on. Again, aid stations are not listed out here. I wish they were, but I know they were listed earlier. So with that, let's dive into some race specifics. So we know it's 4 loops. We know it's really hilly. So with that, we know that our running mechanics are going to be very essential for us on race day. If we let those go right from the gun, then we're going to have a lot of trouble maintaining our paces, maintaining food intake, all of that good stuff throughout the race. So running mechanics are going to be really important on a course like this. If you let your feet go in front of you, you start to overreach, especially on the downhills. You're going to open yourself up to side stitches. If you just don't open your stride up at all, you're going to be trotting along. You're probably going to get some knees, some plantar, some ankle stuff mixed in there. So what I would encourage you to do, East Coasters of America are going to be able to do this very well. They're going to manage their terrain. They're going to flatten it out as best as possible. Okay, and what I mean by that is your running mechanics are going to change a little bit when you go up and when you're going down. All right, if you are aware of that, if you're actively, properly changing that in the race course areas, you're going to be much, 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 much better off. Okay. On the uphills, you're not going to want a huge stride opening up. On the downhills, that's going to be a different story. But again, since we are really punchy up and down, right, you don't want to just totally fly on the downhills either. So you really have to manage that pace very, very well. This is going to be a course where a lot of people are cramping. A lot of people are going to blow up, probably on the second or third loop. And again, similar to the bike, runner professionals. Runner professionals, watch out for people who are just absolutely flying for those first couple of miles. It's not uncommon for athletes to try to establish a set distance away from someone else and kind of hold that for the remainder of the race, just because this is an out and back course, and you can keep a pretty good idea of who is where aside from this bottom section here most of the time. Okay. This is going to be a course where you should run your pace, your effort, your style. All right, don't get caught up in someone else's. But I will tell you, a higher turnover athlete is probably going to be a little more successful on a course like this. And that is our run course. There's going to be cooling protocols in place. There's going to be all kinds of cool things there. So make sure you take advantage of the course, nutrition and things like that. If you are starting to feel that you are blowing up or cramping up, make sure you take the necessary steps to correct that sooner rather than later. The faster you try to redirect yourself into success, the better off you're going to be. Page 42 talks about awards, and the award ceremony Sunday, March 3rd, 10 a.m. Okay. Age groupers, each age group is going to be awarded first to third place trophies, tri-club awards, additional awards, all that cool stuff is listed there. World Championship qualification roll down the 3rd of March, 11 a.m., same place there. So they're going to offer 30 age groupers, 30 male age group slots, and 15 female age group slots, qualifying for the 24 Ironman World Championship Nice, France / Kona, Hawaii. They talk about payment, all of that stuff. This is on page 44. You can read that at your convenience. Official event app, make sure you download that. It's really, really good resource, especially for spectators. And that is our 2024 Ironman New Zealand race recap / preview. If you have any questions, please reach out and I'll be happy to assist you. Good luck, everybody.